Hi, Coco. Congrats. This is a bit of a heavier question to start, but you're usually pretty outspoken about political issues, and I'm curious how you feel about the state of the U.S. 1 year into the second Trump administration.
I mean, I think I've already stated my opinions in the past on how I feel about it. And yeah, I mean, I've hoped forward that we can have a lot more peace in our country and more kindness when the way we speak to each other about different topics and things like that. But
Coco Gauff was unexpectedly confronted with a political question at the Australian Open, one that most athletes would instinctively avoid, but instead of playing it safe, the 21-year-old answered honestly, sparking widespread debate online. Her candid remarks about the current state of America quickly went viral, drawing mixed reactions from fans and critics alike. This moment came shortly after Gauff delivered a dominant performance on court, dismantling Olga Danilovic in straight sets, 6-2, 6-2, in just over an hour, a clean and efficient win befitting the tournament's third seed. Heading into her post-match press conference, she likely anticipated questions about her game, tactics, or upcoming opponents, but instead, the very first question she faced centered on President Donald Trump and the condition of the United States 1 year into his second administration, shifting the focus from tennis to politics in an instant.
yeah, obviously, I've been pretty vocal about how I felt. And yeah, I don't feel at this point, I feel a bit fatigued talking about it just because of the fact that it is hard also, I think, being a Black woman in this country and having to experience things even online and seeing your marginalized communities being affected and knowing that I can only really donate and speak out, and I try my best to do that. But yeah, I just hope that as time continues that we can reach a state where we're not currently in and we keep moving forward.
To be clear, this wasn't a question slipped in later or eased into after some safe tennis talk. It was the very first thing a reporter asked her in the press conference. Right out of the gate, she was asked how she felt about the state of the United States 1 year into Donald Trump's second administration, specifically noting that she's known for being outspoken on political issues. In that moment, most athletes would have defaulted to a bland, carefully worded response about focusing on their sport, avoiding politics, and respecting all opinions, the kind of PR-safe answer that says nothing at all. Gauff didn't do that. She chose to respond honestly, opening by saying she had already made her views clear in the past. That statement rang true, as she has never shied away from expressing her opinions or supporting social justice causes. Over the years, she has spoken publicly about racial inequality, gun violence, women's rights, and other sensitive topics many athletes actively avoid, making it clear that she sees her platform as something meant for more than just tennis.
I posted that video of Martin Luther King yesterday, and that was kind of saying that we must keep moving forward even though things may not be as calm as I would like it to be right now.
She then made a particularly striking admission, saying she felt a bit fatigued talking about politics because of how hard it is, a word that resonated deeply, especially considering the pressure placed on a young Black woman to speak for entire communities while simultaneously competing at the highest level of her sport. Gauff went on to express hope for more peace in the country and greater kindness in how people speak to one another, a sentiment that sounded diplomatic at first, but she quickly added important context by grounding it in her lived experience. She explained that being a Black woman in America means constantly witnessing, even online, how marginalized communities are affected, and acknowledged that while she can't change everything, she does what she can by donating and speaking out. This wasn't a vague call for unity, it was a pointed reflection on who is being impacted most by the current political climate. She closed her remarks by emphasizing the need to keep moving forward, referencing a video of Martin Luther King Jr. she had posted the day before, and underscoring her belief that progress must continue even when the moment feels unsettled and far from calm.
Sort of on the topic of maybe making the world a better place, the UNCF reported that you made a pretty sizable donation to HBCUs, and it's the second time you've done that. If you could speak about the importance of that cause and what it means to you.
Yeah, it's super important for me. I think if I didn't play tennis, I would have loved to attend a HBCU. I have family members on both sides. Both my grandmothers went to HBCUs. Uncle and aunt went to HBCU, and been growing up just going to HBCU classic games and things like that. So yeah, I think for me it was just important to support that cause, especially in tennis. I feel like HBCU tennis a lot of times doesn't get the funding that they need. So for me, I would just always try to uplift, like I said in the previous question, marginalized communities, and support where I can. And so I hope that it goes to students who really need it, and it will go to students who need it. And I'm happy that I was able to do this for the second year in a row.
There's a lot to unpack here, because the situation says as much about Coco Gauff's public role as it does about the question itself. The fact that she's being asked about politics at all reflects how she has positioned herself not just as a tennis player, but as a voice for a generation of young people who want athletes to stand for something beyond their sport. She has consistently used her platform to advocate for causes she believes in, and with that visibility comes the expectation that she will be asked political questions, even at tennis press conferences. At the same time, the complexity of the moment can't be ignored. Gauff is only 21 years old, barely old enough to rent a car in some states, yet she's being asked to comment on the state of American politics on an international stage immediately after finishing a match. That's an enormous amount of pressure, especially compared to older athletes who have had years or even decades to shape their public personas and learn how to navigate these situations. Her comment about feeling fatigued is particularly revealing, not because it suggests indifference, but because it highlights the emotional toll of constantly having to speak out, defend her views, and implicitly represent entire communities, all while still growing as both an athlete and a person. It's completely understandable that Gauff feels the weight of all this, especially considering she's juggling these political and social responsibilities while competing at the highest level, aiming 4 Grand Slam titles, and maintaining her status as one of the top players in the world. What's particularly notable is how she connected her words to concrete actions, highlighting her donations and advocacy. For instance, she was recently asked about her $150,000 donation to the United Negro College Fund, marking her second consecutive year making a substantial contribution to support HBCU students through the Coco Gauff Scholarship Program. This shows that when she says she backs up her words with actions, she genuinely means it, putting significant resources behind the causes she cares about. These HBCU donations carry extra significance for Gauff because of her deep family ties. Both of her grandmothers, along with other relatives, attended HBCUs, and she has expressed that if she hadn't pursued tennis, she would have loved to attend one herself. This isn't a superficial PR move, it's personal, rooted in her heritage, and aimed at empowering and supporting the communities that shaped her family. Gauff emphasized that her support for HBCUs goes beyond general charity. She's specifically investing in institutions that have historically served Black communities and continue to do so. She noted that many HBCU tennis programs lack sufficient funding, which is why her scholarship program targets them directly. So far, the initiative has already helped 10 students, giving young Black athletes both financial support and the confidence to pursue their dreams, a form of targeted philanthropy that goes beyond simply writing checks for publicity or tax purposes. But returning to the question about Trump, which has dominated headlines, the online reactions have been predictably mixed. Many praise Gauff for speaking her truth and using her platform for more than just tennis, seeing her as a role model for young athletes who want to advocate for what they believe in, even if it risks losing fans or sponsorships. On the other hand, critics insist she should shut up and play tennis, argue she's too young to understand politics, or claim athletes shouldn't make political statements. Common criticisms, particularly aimed at Black athletes who speak out beyond their sport. Importantly, Gauff was fully aware of the likely backlash. She has navigated similar situations before, from speaking out during the Black Lives Matter protests to addressing gun violence. Yet she chooses to engage anyway, because she believes it matters. Her reference to Martin Luther King Jr. highlighting a video she posted the day before the press conference was a deliberate choice to frame her message about progress and moving forward even when times are unsettled, aligning herself with a legacy of activism and resilience. Coco Gauff has clearly aligned herself with the civil rights movement and the ongoing struggle for racial justice, leaving no ambiguity about her values or the traditions she identifies with. Unlike many athletes who try to balance being woke enough to appeal to some while remaining neutral enough not to upset others, Gauff makes direct statements about her beliefs and backs them up with concrete actions. That authenticity is a major reason she resonates so strongly with young people tired of polished, PR-approved responses that say nothing. At the same time, her position as the face of American tennis adds another layer of complexity. Reporters ask her political questions not just because she's famous, but because she represents American tennis on the international stage, particularly as a young Black woman in a historically white and privileged sport. Her success challenges assumptions about who belongs in tennis and what tennis players are supposed to look like. The fact that the political question came before any discussion of her dominant match against Olga Danilovic, where she won 75% of second serve return points, broke serve multiple times, and extended her record in second-round Grand Slam matches to 14-0 since 2022 is remarkable. For Gauff, tennis excellence is almost secondary to her role as a cultural figure and voice for social change, a double-edged sword that grants her a platform to make a difference but ensures she can never just be an athlete. Her admission of feeling fatigued highlights her awareness of this pressure and her honesty about the toll it takes, while also showing her commitment to keep speaking out. In contrast to athletes who deflect political questions, she has consciously chosen to embrace the responsibility that comes with her platform. The timing of the question 1 year into Trump's second term underscored the reporter's intent to gauge her reaction to the current political climate, and Gauff responded thoughtfully, honestly, and measuredly, without being inflammatory. The online response has been predictably divided, with some praising her bravery and seeing her as a role model, while others dismiss her as out of line or naive. Through it all, Gauff continues to navigate the challenges of competing at the highest level, staying true to herself and her values while managing the scrutiny and expectations that come with being more than just a tennis player. One thing that often gets overlooked in these discussions is just how young Coco Gauff is, only 21. At an age when most people are still figuring out their own beliefs, she's articulating them confidently in front of international media while representing her country at a major sporting event. The fact that she's handling all of this with grace is impressive, regardless of whether you agree with her politics. What makes her comments especially impactful is the connection she drew between her personal experience as a black woman and the broader political climate. She's not speaking in abstract terms about policy. She's describing real experiences: online harassment, attacks on marginalized communities, and the feeling of powerlessness when all she can do is donate and speak out. That authenticity is why her words resonated with so many people. Looking ahead, it will be interesting to see whether other athletes follow her example and speak openly about their political views, or continue to play it safe. Tennis, in particular, has a history of avoiding politics, with a few notable exceptions like Billie Jean King and Martina Navratilova, and Gauff seems to be positioning herself in that tradition of athletes unafraid to speak out even when it's uncomfortable. As the Australian Open continues and Gauff remains a strong contender for the title, this press conference has ensured that her tournament run is about more than just her tennis. Whether she intends it or not, she has become a symbol of athlete activism and the ongoing debate over the intersection of sports and politics. In short, Coco Gauff didn't dodge the political question, openly acknowledged the exhaustion that comes with speaking out, and made her position unmistakably clear.